I started the doll series in lockdown when I didn't have access to a wood workshop. It was a strange period where I sort of felt like I kind of regressed into my childhood and adolescence because I was at home with my family. I'm interested in the doll as a trope for a woman and how they're meant to be these kind of like symbols of innocence and perfection, but then when they eventually become discarded, upgraded with a new model, they become these damaged subjects whose autonomy is always under threat. Especially like looking for dolls where there's like a disruption in the surface, ones that have been like smeared in makeup or kind of bruised, or they have like an eyelash missing. Even some of my images, like I would spray the doll with water before photographing them. And then I always love this idea that I think so many girls growing up with their dolls eventually have a period where they end up like cutting all their hair off, or like pulling off a leg, or like covering them in pen or something. These like little acts of rebellion which I remember doing growing up. Yeah, no, I think I am sort of interested in that time period of it being, you're not quite child but you're not quite adult, and like there's a lot of kind of strange feelings around that time when you have a strange relationship to your body and a strange relationship to your toys because you're moving on from them and you're kind of seeing yourself in a new perspective, like through an adult lens. But then you still kind of have this sort of naive outlook on life of a child. For this show coming up, I was trying to think also more about toys from my childhood that are significant to me. The Furby was a toy from the 90s that I had when I was like 5 or 6 years old. They kind of look like dolls where they have the big round eyes, and I was always really fascinated by their like big kind of strip lashes when I was little. But because they could speak bits of broken English at you and they would kind of turn on and off when you weren't expecting it, they also had this kind of eerie quality to them where I remember I was like obsessed with my Furby but also really freaked out by it at the same time. If I'm like interested in kind of the artifice of painting and its kind of illusionistic qualities, like I think a sort of soft hyperrealism style of painting lends itself to that because it's talking about this idea of facade, being able to seduce the viewer with impeccable skill. But then it's like what's really underneath that. I'm trying to bring that to light in a way that painting can be seen as this sort of veil that covers an essential nothingness. I like to think about how long can the image hold itself together. So it's not until you get really close to the painting that those painterly marks reveal themselves. And then the further away you are, it holds itself as almost being like a photograph. I like that kind of interplay.